A Kansas City cop has to resign because he's already done shot 3 people. Put him up full mass. Literally, this cop had to just leave his job because he's shooting too many individuals. A white Kansas City cop shot and killed 3 people over the course of his 9-year career. He will receive a $50,000 payout, not a charge. KCPD calls this, quote, an agreed departure. An agreed departure. Okay, quote, as of February 13th, 2026, and by mutual agreement, Blayne Newton has resigned from the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, said an email sent by the Captain Jake Bacina. Quote, this agreed departure brings certainty and closure to the matter. No, it doesn't. I will get into that in a moment. Newton will be paid a $50,000 settlement and will be barred from any future employment with KCPD, according to a settlement agreement released by the department, but he's free to work at another one. His victims, Newton, shot and killed Donnie Sanders, an unarmed 47-year-old black man, March 2020, after chasing him for speeding. Sanders' family filed a $10 million civil case against the department. Newton shot 16 rounds into a minivan. This was June 2023. Incident that killed 2 people and injured a 3rd. KCPD settled a wrongful death lawsuit with the families late last year for $3.5 million. It was later learned that Newton should not have been in Jackson County that night. He was out of his jurisdiction, as he had been placed on duty out of the North Patrol, which covers Platte and Clay counties. He told investigators that he went to a KCPD station to go to the bathroom. He was outside of his ordered location. Put him back up again. That is a defund the police machine right there. They have had to settle case after case after case. He has effectively defunded the police department so much that they just need him to walk off. 2022, while off duty, he also assaulted a black woman. In 2024, Lansing, Kansas woman was awarded $65,000 for the 2022 attack. After accusing Newton of assault, battery, and false imprisonment, the plaintiff, who was a Walmart shopper when this occurred in 2022, says she was simply trying to record an arrest, which is completely legal. The prosecutor's office declined to file criminal charges last week. So Newton, a 9-year veteran who made $94,900 a year, ducked criminal charges in late January when Jackson County Prosecutor Melissa Johnson announced that she could not, quote, ethically or legally file charges against Newton in a triple shooting despite her concerns with the pattern of cases. Damn lies. You cannot ethically or legally file charges. You are the only entity who can legally file charges. It's such a ridiculous comment. You're elected to file charges. You represent the matter of the people. The people versus the state versus. You represent the one entity that actually can do something, but you can't legally do it. Makes no sense. Ethically, I don't even want to get into that because I think you just made up something. Admitting her decision might be, quote, deeply painful to the victims' families. Johnson said that in a 2023 case, Newton used permissible force in defense of others, responding to the van's front passenger who was firing at another vehicle. Missouri law says a person cannot be held criminally liable when they unintentionally strike a third party while defending themselves or others, she said. Now, she utilized one case in order to validate not charging him for any of the cases that he could be charged for. So keep in mind, it's to get you to look at one and not pay attention to the others. There are chargeable offenses in other instances that are available to the prosecutor. Reaction. So, quote, this officer has took my family, has wounded my son for the rest of his life. He has caused trauma to our family, said Ebony Alleman, sister of Marcel Nelson, who was killed by Newton. Quote, you leave your job and you leave the people that you've hurt and lives that have been traumatized left behind, she said. You're not being held accountable for the things that you have done. I feel like it's a cop-out. No pun intended, obviously. Another quote, all of this could have been avoided, said Steve Young, co-founder of KC Law Enforcement Accountability Project. Quote, they knew that Blayne Newton was a problem. We've gotten anonymous calls from people, from police officers who had retired or left, and they even told us how problematic Blayne Newton was, end quote. Quote, while his departure from the Kansas City Police Department may bring a measure of relief to those directly impacted, it does not constitute accountability, Young said in a statement. Quote, if Mr. Newton retains his Missouri police officer license, he remains legally permitted to serve in another community, placing other families at risk and perpetrating the same cycle of violence. Let me tell you why he will likely keep his license. The one charge that this prosecutor still had at her disposal was the charge of violation of oath of office. Violation of oath of office. And the reason is because typically when cops like him engage in these actions, they do not report their own criminal behavior on their police report. They do not report their own criminal behavior on the police report. So the fact that there's a lie on his police report qualifies for the crime of violation of oath of office. If she charged him with that and that alone, that eliminates his license. So understand the prosecutor's playing the game, and the good people of that county deserve better. All right, Jordan, thoughts?
There's a few things here. The only reason people could somewhat exhale is because he resigned. He wasn't fired. I mean, this is the problem. You and I have talked about this. You've covered this for years on this show. The problem is that police departments protect their own and insulate them from any accountability. They'll deflect, they'll distract, they'll try to fudge the account of what happened to protect their own. We can't allow that to continue, because you get into situations like this where you have a repeat offender who is costing the taxpayer money for his own bad behavior. I mean, in Los Angeles, I think the police misconduct total payouts over the past couple of years has been in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And the police department's turning around saying, we need more money. What? You just burned through $100 million in taxpayer money because your own cops were killing and assaulting people. This is a problem across the country. And yes, as we've seen time and time again, police officers who sometimes do face any repercussions will just go to another department and repeat the same patterns of bad behavior. So there needs to be a total comprehensive review and a massive undertaking to totally reform this system. I mean, others have advocated for defunding, and I think that's a great start. Take some of that funding that's going into these police departments and reallocate it to other aspects, other forms of the government, and reinvest in community service so that you have other ways of handling different scenarios that don't lead to someone who is in need of help, or someone who may have caused a minor infraction being shot or brutalized or killed. There are many other ways you can mitigate these problems that isn't just punishment, crackdown, take the license. It needs to go a step beyond that.
That's right. The goal of policing was not policing. The goal of policing was public safety. The goal of policing is public safety. And so defunding the police is to reimagine and reprioritize a policing budget to focus on preventative measures and also rehabilitation, so that you have more safety in the public overall. And that has been lost in the conversation of policing. We'll bring updates as they come.